Good afternoon, everyone, to the Joint Subcommittee on Block Grants. I'm David Suderline. We're going to start first by welcoming everyone. We have some new members. I'd like everyone to introduce themselves. For those that aren't familiar with this subcommittee, what we do today is hear presentations about the proposed Commonwealth's Community Service Block Grant State Plan. And that's something that the federal government requires to be determined by the legislature, and the Virginia General Assembly has delegated that authority to this subcommittee with members of the Senate and House and members of both major parties. So we'll get started on this end. If the delegate would like to just tell us who you are and where you represent.
And I'm not normally in the Senate buildings. Katrina Carlson, I'm a delegate representing the 54th District, which is Charlottesville and Albemarle.
Good afternoon. I am Senator Angela Williams-Graves, representing the 21st Senatorial District of the Commonwealth, and that is the city of Norfolk.
Good afternoon. I'm Delegate Joe McNamara. I represent Salem, parts of Roanoke County, parts of Roanoke City.
I'm Paul Krizak, delegate from the 16th District, which is southeastern Fairfax County, home of George Washington.
Bill DeStiff, I used to just represent Virginia Beach. Now it's Virginia Beach, Norfolk, Accomack, Northampton County, and 42 towns and cities. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the settlers landed in my district.
And then they moved to my district. I'm
Then they came back to the beach.
Thank you, Senator. We're not back in session yet, but so I'm Delegate Wendell Walker, representing the city of Lynchburg and part of Campbell County.
My name is Fernando Marty Martinez. I am a delegate from District 29, which encompasses the town of Leesburg and areas surrounding. FYI, I've been on the Leesburg Town, or was on the Leesburg Town Council for over 20 and a half years and very familiar with block grants, and glad I'm on this committee to help.
Delegate Clark, would you like to introduce yourself and let everyone know your district that you represent?
Yes, definitely. Hello, good morning. Good afternoon. Delegate Clark, District 84, that's parts of Suffolk, Chesapeake, Franklin City, and Isle of Wight County.
Hi, I'm Senator Adam Eben from the 39th District, which is the city of Alexandria, along with parts of Arlington and Fairfax counties. Thank you.
So, Mr. Clerk, I believe we have a quorum. All right. Well, appreciate everyone being here. We're going to start with an overview of the Commonwealth's Community Service Block Grant State Plan proposal from Commissioner Williams, if you'd like to get started.
Thanks for the opportunity, and thanks for coming to talk about this plan. You'll hear a lot of great examples about this work later on, so I won't go into great detail. I'll give you a couple of examples, but just for the new members, what we're talking about today is actually something that originated with President Lyndon Johnson's War on Poverty, and so this is an outgrowth of that work and that era, and these grants really focus on economic and social mobility. And so, the Community Services Block Grant State Plan, it details really how Virginia allocates federal funds, including these grants and some TANF funds, to 28 local and 3 state community action agencies. And it could also include local governments as well as private entities. Nonprofits. So we'll just kind of talk a little bit about what will happen over the next 2 years with this plan. just a couple of quick facts about the magnitude of this grant program. It's about $12 million of federal grant money. It's $9 million of TANF discretionary funds. And the budgets for agencies are about $150 million serving citizens of Virginia, 90,000 individuals and about 46,000 families. For every dollar of these block grants, these agencies are able to amplify about to $13 of additional federal, state, local, and private funds. The administration of this block grant program, Virginia is able to really leverage a lot of work that these agencies do, and we can help them amplify a lot of really innovative work, pilots that are currently underway, and identify what works and what doesn't. So the first thing I'd like to kind of outline that's in the plan is, the plan will really address a lot of barriers that families see as they're trying to, become more mobile and advance economically. And so one of the things that we're doing, it's called a whole family pilot in Virginia. The General Assembly has actually authorized some additional funds for this as well, but a lot of the funds come through this block grant program. So one thing you'll see in the plan, we have 6 agencies that currently participate in this pilot. And really what the pilot does is it hires a coach for the entire family so that the coach can help connect the family to services that are not just job training. We're talking about childcare, transportation, any problem that the family as a whole, and even if it's a 2-generational household, whatever problem the whole family would actually encounter, the agency is able to step in and not just provide a single service, SNAP or Medicaid. It's able to actually fill gaps where they exist, right? We don't have a program that typically offers transportation, so that's a really common one that we see. But the agencies are really innovative, and again, you'll hear of some great examples of that later. We're currently working on developing training and guidance for all these agencies so that they can actually implement whole family. And so, the goal would be to go from 6 agencies to all 31 agencies that are able to implement this type of program, and again, solve for childcare needs and identify other community partners who can step in and fill gaps where current benefits don't necessarily help them advance. The second thing you'll see highlighted in the plan are what I'll just call career pathways and workforce opportunities. So we're really trying to get more of our social services clients into careers where they can advance over the long haul. So there are great examples of this, but one that I'll just highlight is in Luray. We're working with Laurel Ridge Community College and Valley Health Systems to try to start people on healthcare careers, including nursing and technician roles, so that they can, if you think of a nursing pathway, you can start at a CNA level, work your way into an LPN level, and then advance to an RN over multiple years, and you're earning a wage, as you go. And so we're really trying to identify careers like that. Electrician would be another great example where we can walk alongside someone, with a coach. They're working with the whole family, so that eventually they can work their way to self-sufficiency. So that's really the goal here. And with this state plan, there will be more training provided to these community action agencies to encourage, the connectivity between our workforce boards. Virginia Works, the new department under Secretary Slater, the Labor Secretary. We're working with Go Virginia to identify ways that their grants can amplify training centers and support training centers that actually cater to our social services clients. And then some of our regional partnerships as well. So there's a lot of exciting opportunity here. I think the backdrop on some of this workforce activity is our self-sufficiency programs, particularly at DSS. They were shuttered during the pandemic, naturally. People weren't showing up to workforce training centers. And so we're really trying to breathe life back into that activity and create those pathways again from, employers to training centers, and fill all of the gaps with the assistance of community action agencies so that people can get back to self-sufficiency. The last thing I'll just highlight is we're really trying to address well-known issues that I think you all have heard a lot about. So one of the things that we're specifically concerned about, and I know that the General Assembly considered legislation about this during the last session, but the benefit cliffs issue is one well-known barrier in self-sufficiency. And so there's an exciting program that you'll probably hear about later that VACAP is working on, which is called RISE. And it's a program that actually allows people to save $1 and they get an $8 match for that dollar. And so we're looking to really try to allow people to save quickly to solve problems like the benefit cliffs, right? If they have to go off of that, they have some accumulated savings that they could fall back on if they have to take a step back. That's maybe not the systemic way to address that problem, but it's a practical way that we can try to address really well-known problems that are in the benefit system. And so with that, I will turn it over to Eric Johnson, Executive Director of VACAP, and welcome any questions.
Does anyone have any questions for the commissioner? Yes, of course, Senator Eben.
Thank you for being here today and for the information. I was curious, the 28 local and 3 statewide community action agency that are, I guess, in the plan, is that differ from past years? Are there new agencies that for the first time, or is it mostly the agencies that were able to benefit before from the plan?
I believe it's the same number of agencies since the last plan. Agencies have increased over the years, but since the last plan that you saw in 2022, it's the same number.
Okay, and Mr. Chairman, just to follow up.
Certainly.
But there was an opportunity for new agencies can apply if they choose to be considered.
Correct. I think there would have to be a change in the TANF discretionary funds that would be allocated for that. So that would be obviously something you consider every year. But that's certainly something that could happen.
Thank you.
The number of agencies could increase.
Thank you. Any other questions from the subcommittee? Yes, Senator Williams-Graves.
Thank you again for the information. As you spoke and you talked about the workforce training centers, where in general terms are those located? Are they easily accessible along bus routes or mass transit lines? Where do we find most of those?
Yeah, I think we have a range, and I think there are a lot of different models out there, and every locality does it a little bit differently. Fairfax has a really great model where it's a little bit more of a one-stop shop, and there's a lot of workforce and social services capabilities all in the same place, which is nice. I think every locality has different constraints that they're operating under, and so I don't think it's feasible for every locality to do that. But we have, at a state level, we have looked at trying to consolidate even some of our agencies into similar kind of one-stop locations. But that's a really, it's a long-term change to make that happen because, as you know, we sign 10-year leases in the state, and so if you want to make that change, it's a long process. But we have tried to do that to the extent that we can when our leases are ending and things like that to try to bring agencies together over the last few years.
Thank you. Any other questions from the subcommittee? All right, that concludes the presentation of the overview of the plan there. We're now going to go to stakeholder comment. And I believe the agenda, if you see that you're already on the agenda, please just try to follow the order that our wonderful clerks have assigned. Thank you. And when you come up, introduce yourself, tell us a little bit what you're about, and then make your comments.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members of the committee, my name is Eric Johnston. I serve as the CEO for the Statewide Association of the 31 Community Action Agencies in Virginia. I'm joined today in the audience by an innovative assortment of leaders, board members, and program participants from across the Commonwealth and across the 31 agencies. So I want to thank those leaders for being here and for taking the time. We were grateful for your support at the General Assembly and for the partnership with amazing leaders in the administration as well. We have a close working relationship with the Department of Social Services under Commissioner Williams' leadership and really have a collaborative approach focused on economic mobility and really work hard to ensure the investments that you've entrusted with us work across all the different programs, state, federal, local, and private. Today, VACAP, our association, recommends adoption of the CSBG state plan. It was developed with significant input from our network, which includes our agencies that are here today, and they're governed by their locally controlled boards. So our boards represent both local government representatives, low-income citizens in our districts, and also other leaders, both private, religious, philanthropy, and nonprofit leaders, because a core of our work is to try to collaborate and make sure that the resources are strategically working together. Community action is adaptable and flexible to the unique needs of the diverse regions of Virginia and the different service delivery networks. We complete community needs assessments and look at the solutions to fill gaps in human services delivery with both public and private partnerships. We're really grateful for your investments this last year in new resources for the Virginia Cash Campaign, the volunteer income tax assistance, which is really a core resource, both state and federal earned income tax credits, a really bipartisan model that has amazing volunteers. We'd love to get you out to a site anytime you'd like to see it. Our efforts are guided, as the Commissioner mentioned, by the whole family, two-generation approach to service delivery. That model, because of your pilot partnership investment, is designed to tie together all the investments in human services in a way that leads to economic mobility and self-sufficiency. And I've worked in state government, local government throughout my career. Watching those coaches and families serve through this program has been one of the most rewarding parts of my career, to see what you've entrusted us with, really not outputs, but moving whole families out of poverty to reach their goals. Thank you for your support and leadership. I'll turn it next to our board chair, Kevin Odie.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and committee members. Thank you for the opportunity to speak and express our support for the Community Service Block Grant State Plan, and a special thanks to all of the committee members serving Hampton Roads that has supported community action in the region so strongly, and a special note to thanks to Senate Finance and Appropriations Chair Lucas for coming from community action as a CEO of Stop Inc. early in her career and continued long-standing support. So I'm Kevin O.T., and I serve as the chairman of the Virginia Community Action Partnership and chief operating officer with the Hampton Roads Community Action Program, where our corporate office is in Newport News. HRCAP, along with all of my other community action members and agencies, are celebrating 60 years of service. So we invite you to come to any of the community action agencies for a tour. If you're in Hampton Roads, we have one on September 17th in our Hampton location. So HRCAP provides workforce development and programming, housing, financial literacy services, early childhood education, health coaching, and whole family approach strategies and other necessary services. So in our veteran program assisted over 108 veterans with rapid rehousing services and preventative services that include food, lease deposits, rent, and energy share assistance. Additionally, we assisted more than 20 veteran households with mobility upgrades in their bathrooms and outdoor ramps. Our workforce programs continues to serve over 120 individuals with job readiness coaching and resume development, and we're seeing out of that 120 individuals, 95% of our individuals are enrolled were hired by local employers with an average of $15 an hour. HRCAP is considered as a convener in the community along with other community action agencies. Our agency convenes a monthly whole family community coalition that's made up of more than 40 large and small business leaders, foundations, college, universities, nonprofit organizations, faith-based organizations, and members of the local state agencies. Economic and social mobility is the driver for the services that we provide to individuals and families. And so HRCAP has been continuing to utilize CSBG funding to expand our evidence-based whole family approach. We are one of the pilots, so again, thank you for your support. Since 2019, the program has served over 26 families or 89 individuals, and we've seen an average increase in the household income of more than 51% or $22,500 annually. Each household continues to receive access to early childhood education. The average credit score for the family served has increased by over 85 points as a result of credit improvement coaching. And our whole family approach has been recognized across the country by the Annie Casey Foundation, the National Community Action Partnership, and other foundations. So by offering comprehensive programs that enhance education, employment, home ownership, and financial stability, HRCAP will continue to move families into self-sufficiency. So I do want to share just one client success. Ms. Daniels contacted our agency in December of 2023. She was homeless and frequently visiting our day, shower, laundry, and meal program at Four Oaks Service Center in Newport News. Our workforce team was able to secure a full-time job for her at McDonald's, making $15 an hour. Our HUD-certified housing counselor was able to assist her with rapid rehousing with a preferred landlord with a vacant apartment, where we could assist with the deposit and 2 months' rent after 90 days of employment. Ms. Daniels received a $2 raise. She is currently enrolled at Virginia Peninsula Community College, pursuing her associate's degree in psychology. Today, she is now an assistant manager at McDonald's, making $36,000. Daniela from Hampton was enrolled in our Project Discovery program, and she's recently graduated from Bethel High School with a 4.7 GPA. She is in our Project Discovery program, and upon completion, she's received over $706,000 in scholarships because of our program connecting her to those opportunities. In the audience, our CEO, Edith White, and our board is continuing to look at strategies of how we can stay committed to ensuring self-sufficiency and economic mobility for all those in our communities, and strengthening our relationships with those who we serve and our business community, and continuing to deliver high-impact programs for both individuals and families, and utilizing our data that we do collect to make sure that we are continuously hearing from the community and using those community needs to be able to provide regular updates to our strategic plan. So again, thank you so much for all that you do.
Thank you. Before you leave, Mr. Odie, there's at least one question. Delegate Krizek.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This all sounds really great. You're doing some great work, and I commend you. So this is a pilot, the whole family effort that you have now, and you're trying to expand that. You're looking for resources. How much capacity could you have, and what is there a waiting list, if you will, for your services?
Yes, so what we do in our agencies across the Commonwealth is we look to braid dollars. And as the Commissioner mentioned, for every $13 that we can leverage for every $1 of CSBG. And so what we're doing is looking at the individuals that we are serving and families to look at, we have small caseloads, so that means that we are seeing an increase in the amount of support that we need for financials. So that means we're looking right around 12 to 16 households, and so to a coach. And so that is kind of the capacity, but we found that through this pilot that this model can actually expand itself to be able to serve more families and move them out of poverty. So there is capacity across the agencies. We just need to continue to receive investments so that we can empower our staff, get more professional development so that they can continue to do that trauma-informed care and connection and resources. So there is capacity within our agencies.
Thank you. And Senator Williams-Graves.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair. The question that I have is regarding this $1 to every $13. How do you all equate that, especially with the cost of everything increasing?
Right. So one of the things that we are doing with sometimes receiving level funding is that we've had to go out and reach to foundations and leverage that opportunities against what we're receiving for CSBG. And so that is what has kind of continued to do that. You'll see that a lot of community action agencies also receive grants from other federal sources. And that allows us to be able to provide the true comprehensive wraparound services to maximize opportunities. Despite the increase in the dollar, we are still able to leverage because of our abilities to be frugal and looking at different ways. So for example, our agency, 92% of every dollar is going directly to services and 8% is going directly to administrative. And as you know, there are a lot of other agencies where their indirect is very high, but that's one of the things that our board and our community action networks are really strong at doing, but that's why we want to continue to advocate to make sure that CSBG stays and that community action still continues to receive those funds. And again, we want to thank you for the additional dollars from TANF to be able to support those needs too, and the flexibility.
Just follow up, Mr. Chair.
Yes, Sarah Williams-Graves.
I just want to say thank you. You all do an amazing job in Hampton Roads, so thank you for what you do for all of our families.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right,
Thanks for taking the questions as well.
Sure, thank you.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. My name is Brian Phipps, and I am the President and CEO of People Incorporated. People Incorporated has been a community action agency for the last 60 years. So as you've already heard today, this is our 60th anniversary. One of the things that makes People Inc. a little bit different is our geography. Our historical home base has been in Southwest Virginia, but over the last decade or so, we have steadily expanded our services to include communities in the northern Shenandoah Valley, greater Prince William County area, as well as the northern Piedmont. So we have been able to steadily expand access to the services and resources that we deliver in communities. And, you know, we could certainly talk a lot about stats and the number of families and households that we serve, but one of the most important things and benefits for us as a community action agency is continued access to the Community Services Block Grant. The CSBG program started really with an idea towards assuring that local organizations had access to the resources that they needed to address the needs within their communities. And People Incorporated, like many of our sister organizations, have been able to utilize those CSBG funds in a way that significantly leverage the awards that we receive specifically from CSBG, but to also use that to parlay it into other income-generating activities. For People Incorporated, we are very heavily engaged throughout the Commonwealth as an affordable housing developer. We have established a community development financial institution and are a community development lender. We operate the Federal Head Start program, workforce development services. But the reason that we are able to do that is because of the flexibility provided us by the Community Services Block Grant. As I'm sure all of you all know, there are countless numbers of nonprofit organizations working within the Commonwealth. One of the things that makes community action agencies different is that we are not single issue specific. We have a very broad mission that is focused on economic mobility and the alleviation of poverty. What that means on a practical basis is we are charged as organizations with figuring out what is it that communities are missing, what is it that the individuals that are living there most need to be able to become successful and part of the economic mainstream. So we were talking earlier this morning, and community action agencies are all very vibrant, and we're all very diverse. So while you just heard comments from Mr. Odie, who serves the Hampton Roads area, and the numbers of services and things that they do, we do similar programs and services, but also some that are totally different, and that's okay because they are all tailored to meet the needs of our disparate communities as we're working within them. That flexibility and, frankly, the support that we receive from the Department of Social Services has been crucial to the continued success of the Community Action Network. We enjoy a very close working relationship with Commissioner Williams as well as the staff of the Office of Economic Opportunity at DSS. And it is unlike some other situations, it is a very collaborative work environment. Certainly we are responsible for producing certain outcomes and for assuring that we implement our programs according to standard, but they are all very supportive and encouraging of our efforts to innovate and do different things to best serve our communities. So thank you for your time and being here, and I'm happy to answer any questions if you have any. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for being here.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and members of the committee. I'm Angela Penn, President and CEO of Total Action for Progress. In written testimony, I attempted to provide just a small slice of the Community Services Block Grant it achieves through the many programs it is able to leverage. The need is great, and the CSBG program is able to leverage millions of dollars to help meet that need. It's urgent, important work, and CSBG is absolutely a critical foundation for it. I want to underscore a point that the Community Service Block Grant is an outstanding investment vehicle for sparking local communities, economies with tremendous returns in human capital, long-term growth, and also economic activity generated directly by the CSBG program. In the context of the balance sheet, both the money that TAP spends in the local economy and the results that are achieved, documented in my written testimony, are both assets to the region and to the Commonwealth. While the language of the block grant often suggests a contract for services with a set of outcomes and a cost necessary to pay to reach those goals, in the broader context of our communities, that cost and the services CSBG pays for have immediate and lasting impacts. They open up new possibilities. It is a point that we are often guilty of downplaying from time to time, and I want to use my time to share what a win-win the Community Service Block Grant is, and want to say that we feel proud when we consider the long-term impact it has. And we hope that you feel how much you are a part of that. I hope that you feel proud when you consider not only the impact within our lifetimes, but when you are able to consider the bright future and the investments this makes possible. Thank you for your support of community action and of the CSBG program. I'm happy to answer any questions if there are any.
That was very good, but you forgot to include the most important information.
What is that?
Where are the wonderful people you serve? Where do they live?
Thank you. Thank you. The wonderful people that we serve at Total Action for Progress are in the Roanoke Valley, and we serve Roanoke and all the 11 jurisdictions surrounding that community.
That's wonderful. Any other questions? Senator Eben.
Just curious, are you serving people who are dealing with addiction at all, or is that an issue for some of your clients? People getting the help they need?
That is an issue for some of our clients, and we do not provide that service directly, but we work with organizations within our community to provide those appropriate referrals.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you so much for the presentation.
Thank you so much.
One of the great things that I've heard through this work from many people in Roanoke Valley is their appreciation for not the services they received directly from TAP, but that their parents received that then allowed their family to get out of poverty. And it was appreciate all that important work that's been happening for generations in the Valley. Next up, Virginia Cares. Ms. Johnson.
Hello, good afternoon. I'm a recent graduate of the Virginia Cares and People Incorporated program. I'm currently a TO2 at the Virginia Department of Transportation. I have a CDL Class A, and none of these things would have been possible without the help of these programs. The program that they offer is designed to help people re-entering to society become financially stable and independent. When I first met Mr. Marshall and Ms. Chrissy, I was at the probation and parole office, and I told the probation officer that I would like to have my CDL license, and he gave me their number. And once I got in contact with them, basically anything that I needed, they were able to point me in the right direction or give me the phone number or even just answer a phone call if I had a general question. Through this program, I was able to get support that, our family members aren't able to give because they don't understand what it's like being in prison and coming home and re-entering into society. There are a lot of barriers that we face, not just with just the crime itself or whatever happened, but coming home and feeling like you have no support. When you meet these people, they are immediately non-judgmental, and you feel like you can go to them and request help for any program or anything that you need, even just simply as a voucher to get work boots when you start a job because you don't have a job yet, or pointing you in the right direction with the unemployment office that actually paid for me to go to school and get my CDL license 100% free. Following up on that, when I got my CDL license and I needed some direction about where to apply for a job because I'm recently out of school, I have my CDL, but I have no experience, I was able to call Mr. Marshall or Ms. Chrissy any time of the day, even on Saturday, and they always answered and always gave support. Even now, my daughter's going to college. They're like, do you need anything? Do we have a voucher for this? If you need the books or whatever the case may be. Even when I first came home, they gave me a laptop. So that helped me utilize that to look for jobs because I hadn't used a laptop in a long time. So I was able to use that to look for jobs and other things that I needed. So this program is a very good program, and I hope that you guys continue to support what they do because it matters to a lot of people. My family as well, they're here supporting me. Throughout my journey, they have been a big factor in helping the recidivism go down and me reconnect with my family and be self-sufficient and be able to support my daughter.
Well, thank you very much. Yes, Senator Williams-Graves.
I just want to say congratulations
Thank you
on
so
doing
much.
so well for yourself.
Thank you.
The support wouldn't happen if you hadn't taken the initiative, and so kudos to you for doing that, and I wish you well in everything that you do going forward.
Thank you so much. Does anyone have any more questions?
No,
Okay.
thank you very much for sharing that.
Hello, everyone. Thank you. My name is Denasia Dunaville, and I am a graduate of Project Discovery. I attended Virginia Tech on a full scholarship, and I was the first in my family to attend college. My grandmother is here supporting me, and she always gave me a hand, always gave me the support that I needed. But the truth of the matter is a lot of low-income first-generation students do not have the support necessary to actually attack the challenges head on. I believe Project Discovery helped me achieve my dreams and reach my future because they taught me everything that I needed to know to apply for college. They taught me what admissions officers are looking for. They helped me get scholarships, and they provided college tours that I would not have been able to afford and go on without them. My parents, as I mentioned, were very supportive, but admittedly, they had to support their 5 children. So they did not have the time and availability to always take me to these college tours and give me the help that I needed. Project Discovery provided me with waivers for application fees and for SAT and ACT exams. They also provided student summer work programs. And while they helped me prepare for college, Project Discovery also helped me stay in college. And I think that's a big part that a lot of programs are missing. Project Discovery gave me counselors that are always in my corner, and they help me even to this day. When I landed an internship at Virginia Tech in New York City, I quickly realized that I would not be able to afford it, and I was able to reach out to TAP and my counselors at Project Discovery to help me fill in the gaps and be able to afford the tuition and the room and board to stay in New York City. I also would like to mention that it gave me friends and connections that understood the challenges that come with breaking generational cycles. I was able to meet one woman who graduated from William & Mary, and another who graduated from Radford, and we all believe that this was because of Project Discovery. The truth of the matter is our stories are special because they're ours, but they're not unique. There are a lot of children in Virginia who are low income and first generation students, and they don't have the support that they need. It could be something as simple as owing $50 to apply for college or owing $100 on your college tuition fees. Project Discovery allowed me to face those challenges head on, and I know many students may be expecting those challenges, but there are more to come. Whenever I needed a hand, Project Discovery and TAP was always in my corner. I would like to thank you for your support, and I would like to thank Ms. Angela Penn for TAP's support, because I truly believe I would not be where I am today without them. Thank you for your time.
Yes, thank you very much for that, and appreciate the great references to tech and TAP and Roanoke, and where I think someone else might want to hear. And where do you reside in the Commonwealth now?
I currently live in Roanoke. I just moved back from Virginia Beach.
Thank you. We appreciate that you guys see the great beach and now the mountains back and forth. All right, thank you so much. Do we have any other questions? Senator Williams-Graves.
When you say where you are now, where exactly is that? What are you doing?
Yes, I am a news producer. I recently worked at 13 News Now in Virginia Beach. I currently just moved back to Roanoke, Virginia, where I'm still doing my communication specialist, but I am currently working at TAP.
Outstanding.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Senator Lucas has some folks in the crowd listening today. She and I always appreciate the wonderful speakers from Roanoke and Portsmouth especially. Everyone's welcome, but we especially appreciate that. Next up is Southeast Rural Community Assistance Project.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, committee members. Thank you for taking the time to hear from us today. My name is Sean Utt. I'm currently proud to serve as on the board for Southeast RCAP here in Roanoke, beautiful Roanoke. Currently as vice chair. In my spare time, I also serve as the county administrator for Smith County. Now, I stand before you today on a personal note as a product of what Community Services Block Grant is all about. I'm a proud graduate of Rooftop of Virginia's Head Start program many years ago. And later in my career, I worked for Rooftop, various programs geared toward addressing the issues of poverty to help those in need to increase that self-sufficiency that they deserve. A hand up, not a handout. Services we provided at Rooftop included housing assistance, food services, job training, and response to emergency needs. Now what I'd like to talk briefly about is the overall effect the Community Services Block Grant funds have on our communities as a whole, as well as the agencies who serve those communities, many of which are here with us today. As I said earlier, I'm a proud board member of SERCAP, and I've had the opportunity to see firsthand the magic that agencies like SERCAP do on a daily basis. Specific to SERCAP, that magic over the past year includes serving over 500,000 residents with a variety of services such as water, wastewater, community development, small business support, housing counseling, much more. And that is the magic of just one agency. We have 30 more agencies with countless employees working throughout our Commonwealth, doing amazing things of their own to help those in need. And in closing, I want to personally thank Commissioner Williams, the administration, members of the General Assembly for your continued support for the block grant program, and would urge the adoption of the state CSBG plan as presented. We all stand ready to serve those in need throughout our great Commonwealth. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do we have any questions from the subcommittee? Delegate Walker.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I recall back earlier, I think it's Mr. Odie, when you were speaking, I heard a reference concerning veterans. So, Mr. Commissioner, I don't know if you are Mr. Johnston, what percentage, if you have any idea, are we trying to service veterans in our community that may be homeless or out of work or things like that. I know veterans is a big part of Virginia, especially those in the Hampton Roads and I guess in your neighborhood, Bill. Is there any percentage or any information there? I mean, this is part of a needy group out here, but I'd just be curious to.
Mr. Commissioner.
I would answer the question this way. It is certainly not uncommon. We don't have an exact percentage, but we can certainly get back to you about that. And years ago, we were actually just talking about the fact that there was quite an effort to actually focus on veteran homelessness, and this program actually was a part of that. I think that was maybe several years ago at this point, so we can come back to you and kind of give you an update on specifically where is that initiative and give you some more insight into the veteran-specific service level and how many veterans are being served.
I would appreciate that. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Delegate Walker. Other members, any questions or comments before we get to the formal action? Delegate Clark.
There we go. You can hear me? Awesome. I just had one question. I'm not for sure who can answer it, but it's more so, is there any gaps that you're seeing in rural areas? And if so, what are those gaps?
Mr. Chairman, Delegate Clark, great question. And that is one of the beauties of the Community Service Block Grant Program is the flexibility to the different levels of tax base across the Commonwealth and service. So, you heard Mr. Phipps from People Inc., majority of their service territory being rural. We have many of our rural community action agencies. And one of the great things about them working together regionally is that they're pulling together in one nonprofit 501c3, the different federal and state grant resources. Housing, I would say, has become one of the number one topics that has been brought up across urban, rural, and suburban. And so many of our agencies have gotten into not just housing rehab and weatherization, but new construction. And so I would say that we've got some really great models of strong community action across urban, rural, and suburban. And many of our agencies in rural do more direct delivery for the local governments at a regional capacity and trying to make efficiencies on the staffing there to do it together. So I hope that answers your question.
Thank you, Delegate Clark. Any other questions or statements before we move forward? Okay. So what I would like to entertain is a motion that the Joint Subcommittee recommend adoption of the Commonwealth's Community Service Block Grant State Plan as presented. And if then anyone wants to make subsequent motions, I'd like us to start with that as the main motion.
So moved.
Second.
All right, thank you. We have that motion properly before us. Is there any discussion on that? Any amendments to that main motion that's currently before us? All right, seeing none, we're going to go through a roll call vote. I'd ask the clerk to read each member's name and for each member to then vote accordingly.
Delegate Krizik.
Aye.
Delegate McNamara. Aye. Delegate Walker. Delegate Bennett Parker. Delegate Carlson.
Yes.
Delegate Clark.
Aye.
Delegate Laufer. Delegate Martinez.
Aye.
Senator Lucas. Senator Eben.
Aye.
Senator DeSteff. Senator Williams Graves. Senator Suderline.
Yes.
Has 10, no 0.
All right. Thank you very much. By 10-0 vote, we've adopted the proposal as it was presented. There not being any more business before the subcommittee, we will rise and we will adjourn and hopefully meet again in 2 years.